Okay. Hello, I am Brenna Yanchak. I go to Findlay High School and I'm taking a class in Millstream Career Center that is called, I believe it's Media Productions and Visual Designs. It was originally called IMM, so I have problems remembering the name. Anyway, so today I'm here to talk to you about some of my favorite hobbies, which include drawing, writing, and overall, well, yeah, pretty much just that. I will talk about some of my other interests and hobbies as well, but those are the two main ones. So, without further ado, let's transition to the actual part of this video. As I said before, I'm going to talk about my drawings, and of course my other hobbies, but my drawings are going to be the main focus of this video. As such, I'm going to be showing a lot of pictures, or, well, still frames, and I'm going to be talking over them about, why I drew them, and things like that. So, I hope you enjoy. This is something I drew earlier on, with all the things that I've drawn recently. This is something I drew, I think mainly just because I was like, I want to draw something pretty, I don't know, something dramatic. And seeing as I like things like the sunset and dragons, I suppose the fact that this is the result isn't too surprising. If there's something interesting I have to say about this though, this ended up being the appearance of one of my roleplay characters online with my friends. My character originally was a dragon that was a deep, sort of hot pink color. Through various events, she ended up looking like this, and it became a part of the lore of her species of dragon. And the only reason that this lore exists is because I decided to randomly draw this someday and ended up naming it True Dragon Form. Speaking of early images I drew, this is another one. There was no real point to this besides boredom and being like, I like yin yang theme, I like ravens. But, I actually sort of like this one, so I figured I may as well mention it. Then there are things sometimes where you just sort of have to draw something because something captured your imagination. In this instance, well, two words were said too close together, and I'm like, ooh, that would make a cool picture! There's a series of these, and by a series I mean 3. This is the first one that I really like, but it's actually the most recent one that I've drawn. And yeah, this takes inspiration from multiple places. Basically, it's a mushroom cat, and the whole glowing mushroom thing is the type of thing that comes from media usually having glowing mushrooms like that. I have no other reason for doing that other than, hey, it looks a bit cooler now. As for the other two things that were the combination of two words said too close together, we have puppy human and bunny spider. Speaking of random inspirations, this is one of those things that actually came from a random pattern I saw in something, which I believe was the floor tiles in my bathroom. This isn't actually the original image, this is a redrawing of that creature. The original image is this, and yeah, there's a reason I redrew it, because that looks very awkward. Anyway, one of the things I've always struggled to draw is humans, and this is probably one of the better images I've ever drawn. And essentially, well, I do draw because I like it, but at the same time, I do also like to challenge myself sometimes to try to draw better. This isn't actually one of those examples, but this is one of my favorite things because, well, it is a human, and for the longest time, those were challenging. And so recent days, or months, really, that's been easier, but since I started with quadrupeds, going up to humans is a bit hard. Because you have so many different things to worry about. You have to worry about, what they're doing with their hands, how they're standing, and everything else. Well, if I draw a quadruped, that doesn't really have the same weight. If I draw a quadruped, the expression might still count for something, especially if it's personified. But other than that, a lot of its positioning doesn't really matter. I can pretend like, oh, the unicorn's holding its head up high, and it's lifting its one leg up and it's looking very elegant, but that's about all I get. It doesn't really get much more complex than that. Humans are a completely different game, and I'm glad that I've finally been able to at least do a bit better at them. Speaking of trying to challenge myself, here is a piece of fan art that I made based on something from World of Warcraft. Basically, there's this owl that flies above a shrine that you can tame for your Beast Mastery Hunter, and yeah, it's mostly just glowing green feathers and glowing wide eyes, and there really isn't much else to it. But I decided to draw it as a challenge to myself one day because, well, look at all those feathers. That was the main reason. It's basically just how many things can I put on a screen and, well, still keep coherent. I'm just trying to test myself. How can I detail-oriented can I get? How much can I track? This obviously isn't as detail-oriented as it could be, but it's a start. And of course, yes, this is the first piece of fan art that is in this video, and of World of Warcraft of all things. And of all things, something that I've actually looked for pictures for, there is no fan art for this that I've actually seen. So apparently, I'm alone in that, but hey, at least someone likes it.
So that's about all I have to say about my drawings. I do like to write, and that helps me get my emotions out too, and sometimes I prefer writing to get my emotions out because it helps me more explore, I think, more specific topics. If I do just drawings, most of the time if I'm getting my emotions out, they're really, really depressing. But with writing, it's a bit different. It's one of those things where I can get out my happy emotions a lot easier, and some of my other depressing emotions in a less depressing fashion. So, there's that. Among other things, I found that there are some other things I do enjoy. I do enjoy singing a lot. I've looked into messing with music sometimes, but not a whole lot, and by that I mean really nothing ever happened, so who cares? But one of the other things I've noticed that, well, I do sort of like role-playing. Specifically, one of the things I have been interested in recently is cosplay and live-action role-playing. So, essentially acting, but, you know, for fun. And being someone else entirely, and I don't know why, but I like it I just like it for some reason. I've noticed that, at least when I was in my dance, gymnastics, self-defense class, that I ended up liking the dance and gymnastics part. And the self-defense part, but that's not the point. And I think what it essentially means is that I do like to, what I would say, perform. And there's a motorcycle going by, so the audio's gonna get bad. Anyway. And I think that's part of why I like the idea of live-action roleplay, because then I can be... I can have fun, I can pretend to be somebody else, and, well, it gives me an excuse to act really silly. That's one of them. But, other than that, I don't think I have much more to say. So, goodbye.